Trump, is he disappointing here, or is he doing what you thought he was going to do? What's with him?
I think he's certainly exposing the swamp, with the Republicans. When he came out with his budget of wanting to cut PBS and cut the arts and cut many other programs, a lot of the Republicans are coming out against this because they, of course, want to keep the pork flowing. Trump, he can only do so much. I certainly wish if the wiretapping thing with Obama is true, I hope they really deliver the goods. Although we all know that, look, the fact of the matter is technically it's a technical yes, right? Because the government can see through your laptops and your phones and everything else and your TVs. So technically, yes, of course. But did they specifically target him, and were they using information to leak? Trump, I really hope he delivers the goods, because I don't like the drama. I like what Trump stands for: change, radical change, and the end of stupidity and sabotaging of our middle class. So I like many things that he's doing. But of course, I realize, and many of your listeners do, that, look, Trump is not dealing with a Republican Congress. He's dealing with an establishment Congress. And so it's not as easy as a lot of people, like the commentators, think, that Trump just has this Republican Congress blank check. He has an establishment Congress. And some have even said that he's on the path to being a dictator, like Senator McCain, who's absolutely delusional.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I'm overall happy with Trump over the last 50 days. But, look, there's a ton to do. My only hope is that he can cut back enough regulations to where it takes another 30 years to put us in a significant mess. But look, the summer is going to be very volatile. The debt ceiling was just breached the other day. Let's see where this all plays out. Can they raise the debt ceiling, or are we going to have a major systemic crisis over the summer?
Yeah, that's a good question. But supposedly the deficit went down by $60 billion since he became president. So at that rate, hey, if he can keep $60 billion a month, another 20 years, we won't have a deficit.
Well, we'll see. I think, these are surplus months for the U.S. Treasury Department right now, because it's tax season.
Yes, this is true. So it buys them a little breathing time. They're going to raise the debt ceiling. I mean, who's going to try to stop it? The Democrats? I mean, they've been the main enabler of deficit spending. Well, I can't say the main, but they've both been complicit, both parties. But they've always been pro-spending, pro-deficit. So now all of a sudden they're going to find religion. It'll get raised. It always does. And spare me the drama,
Very true. No, it will happen. But let's see if they try to tie it to other spending bills. They'll try to tie it to different things, perhaps pet projects to raise it.
Yeah.
You've got loonies on the left. You've got establishment cronies on the right. And then you've got some Tea Party people in there who are probably trying to honestly do the right thing, some of them, if the Washington hasn't sucked them into the corruption over the last 6 years since they've been there. It's a very diverse group. But one thing is they all like to spend. So it should get raised, but I'm kind of surprised that it's not even being addressed. I don't think the media is really covering it yet.
Yeah, well, the media. The media is the media. I wrote an article called basically Trump the Workaholic in Chief, and a part 2 of it. And it's they can't keep up with him. They're burning out. He's chewing through the media like a hungry dog through a raw steak. I mean, he's just devouring them, and they don't even know it. That's what shocks me the most. These are supposed to be our brightest people, the media, and they're clueless as to what's going on in their industry, their lives, and the country. They didn't think he was going to win, and now that he's won, they don't know what's going on here, Dan.
They've certainly underestimated him at every corner, and he keeps beating them, and they just don't get it. Trashing Trump is not helping them. I mean, look at what's going on with the economy and the optimism amongst consumers and the optimism in the stock market. What people didn't factor in, I don't think anyone factored in, especially the media, is that the people who voted for Trump are the right people. These people had money. This was the middle class that voted for Trump. Yeah. And when they spend their money, it can actually change things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. I mean, I think some of the confidence is misplaced because, we've got the swamp, and the swamp doesn't want to give an inch. And guys like McCain are the swamp, and Lindsey Graham and all of these guys. And it's just, forget it. I mean, they're really adamant on opposing him any way they can. So it's going to be interesting to see what happened with this, what will happen with it. But hey, in the meantime, life goes on. Commodities look like they're poised to take another leap, don't they?
Sure, they've been doing really well under this environment. I know a lot of people feel like it's a bear market still for some of the junior mining stocks specifically. But look, when gold makes a 52-week high, you're going to see those juniors rise dramatically. But we had a big move, and I think a lot of people forget that we had a massive, massive move. Even the GDXJ, the index, went up over 150% in the last year. It's normal to have these pullbacks, especially because you have so much private placement money that went into early and mid 2016. They're selling, they're taking profits. The bull markets climb the wall of worry. And, I think if people look from rate hike to rate hike, from December 2015 to December 2016 to this one we just had in March, gold is higher than it was. December 2015, it was around 1,000, I want to say 1,045.
Yeah, correct.
And then it was 1130-ish for 2016. And the other day it was at 1,200. So from rate hike to rate hike, we're seeing higher highs. Volatility is definitely in between, but that's the same thing for the mining shares. The mining shares are also seeing, you look at from rate hike to rate hike, they're higher. But I think the mining shares got ahead of themselves. And, now we saw this correction. But look, the fact remains is they're still making higher highs on these rate hikes. And, look, gold specifically, if you look at in a rate hiking environment in the 70s or a rate hiking environment in the early 2000s, gold does really well. And so do the mining shares, because it's not so much that it's going up because of a rate hike, but the Fed is playing catch up. The real yield is negative. The rate hike, look, we're only at 75 basis points. We're below inflation. So there's a negative real yield out there. And both times that has happened, actually, there's a third time it's happened in the late 20s, and it's been very bullish for these type of commodities. So I'm very bullish on gold. It's not going to all happen overnight. I think we're looking at a 3 to 4 or 5 year bull market. But look, we're consolidating gains. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes with private placement money, with fundings. There's just these shares are churning, but the capital has come back. I was talking to people who went to PDAC, but you go to any of these conferences, the capital has come back. And I'm not talking about the retail guy. The retail guy is still generally out of it. The institutions are coming back to the sector in a big way. And, you look at even conventional guys out there like Gary Christensen, who many people hate in the silver market. He's even acknowledging now, looking at look, peak gold is plateaued, and probably in about a year or two, it's going to cliff dive in production. So the fundamentals here, the whole move, it's very good. With the volatility and polarization in DC, the long old bull market in the general indexes. There are so many things and so many reasons why gold will do good in this environment, and the mining shares will do even better.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. It seems like it's primed for it. And, it's funny thing, like the trolls never bother me when the price of gold is going up or it's pretty static. But once it starts going down a little bit, then the trolls come out of the woodwork. Oh, you're deceiving people. Gold is a barbarous relic, all of these nonsensical arguments. But, the trend seems to be in place. And I think towards the end of this year is when we're going to see it. It's just going to be choppy, sawtooth markets until the probably mid to late third quarter. And then stuff's going to happen. I mean, I could just kind of feel it here. It's remarkable that, that we could go through this cycle yet again. But things never change, they just never change.
Yeah, and one thing everybody listening is, if you own a mining share, look, the mining stocks do not go, the juniors specifically, if you have, especially if you have exploration, go down all the way down to the list of exploration. They're not going to move big until gold is over 1,300 and probably making 52-week highs closer to 1,400. Right. So it's just a waiting game. But right now is an accumulation period, an accumulation time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm inclined to agree with you on that. And it's not just precious metals where we're seeing the movement. I mean, it's in the base metals too. Copper has been going up recently. It's 270 something right now. Lead, zinc, right? I mean, these are equal opportunities here because it's all commodities with the exception of the agricultural commodities, which they will go up over time just because the population's going up. right?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, look, as long as people want to keep, all the technologies they have and the lifestyle we have, and the urbanization continues, which it absolutely will.
Yeah.
If anybody looks at a picture of like Shanghai 20 years ago and looks at today, it's night and day. Look, the urbanization will continue. Yeah. And there's no denying that these resources are going to be used. And look, the grades are lower. There's no major discoveries anymore. Yeah. I mean, there's mines closing down. Like for zinc, mines are literally shutting down, major mines that produced for 50 to 100 years. This is all going to come to a head over the next 5-6 years. And these investments right now are some of the best opportunities you can find on the market.
Yeah. Yeah, you're so right. I mean, you see that easy discoveries have been made. There's still plenty of the commodity out there, but the cost of it is just extremely high to get to, and and also you're looking at the time involved. With approvals, permitting, all that. It just takes a long time to develop these resources, and the investment had dropped in the resource market for so many years, decades even, that now it's going to be a struggle to get back.
Absolutely. People don't realize the destruction, the supply destruction that happened with the mining shares over the past 6-7 years, really since 2008, if you're at the base metals. So you're looking at, Rick Rule talks about, these commodities will rise either on demand or supply destruction. Well, you've got the demand that is constant. Whether it's China or the United States or the rest of the world, there's a constant demand for these commodities, especially like you're getting into like the clean energy stuff where you need lithium and zinc and cobalt and copper, nickel. But you have a lot of new demand out there as well, but there's been a massive supply destruction. The mining sector is probably the best sector you can invest in right now outside of, let's say, marijuana, where that you've got the end of a prohibition situation, or a biotech stock. Those are individual stocks, and that'll have a lot of volatility. But as a sector as a whole, look, the resource stocks, they're in really good shape here.
Yeah, I think so, because you've pulled out so many of the marginal operators, and now you've gotten down to companies that are generally well capitalized, that are in it for the long haul, and that have good managements, right? And, so from that standpoint, the market's going to do better. And then you got new entrants who hopefully are sitting on decent resources and will be able to make a go of it. So
sure. Yeah, no, I mean, you and I before this call, we were talking about there's 2 zinc companies that have literally launched in the past 6 months here, or less, where some of them just getting their U.S. symbols. This is very new, but you've got one, Zinc One Resources, which trades on the TSX Venture under Z. It's got one of the highest grade zinc deposits on the planet, and it's stacked with nothing but high quality individuals, management teams. I know our mutual friend Keith Neumeyer, the CEO of First Majestic Silver, he's a large shareholder in this company. These guys, they know that zinc is going to be the big mover. They know that these other commodities, you want to diversify, not just be into precious metals. Another one that really is, I think it's a speculative play, but you're with the right people. There's no deposit there now. Right. But there's the Soli project, which is next to Sullivan, which was the largest mine for many years and produced 100 years, zinc and silver. You got Peter Meredith, Robert Freeland's right-hand man. If anybody doesn't know who Robert Freeland is, pretty much the most famous guy in all of mining. Yeah. Jonathan Rubinstein, he's the chairman of Mag Silver. These guys, along with award-winning geologists, are out making exploration in Canada at Kootenay Zinc. It's a new company. It just literally got its OTC symbol, I want to say 2 weeks ago. It trades under KTNNF. But Kootenay Zinc, look, this thing trades for 50 cents right now, or 30 cents on the US. If this thing, if they make a discovery, this will be a $10, $20 stock. It's that kind of return you can see with true exploration. This is pure exploration. So anybody listening to this, this is not a zinc position. This is a zinc exploration play. And but it's with the right people. There's a lot of money that can be made. And of course, anybody who becomes a shareholder, as I become a shareholder of both Zinc One Resources and Kootenay Zinc, you want to have your allocations right? So with Zinc One, it's got a massive deposit. So That's a great zinc position. With Kootenai Zinc, the exploration potential is huge, but at the same point in time, it is still speculative. Not that this team won't go out and acquire a zinc asset later, but the real play on this company is this exploration. And people have forgotten this because of the bear market. But man, when you see a company make a discovery, nothing moves these little resource stocks faster than a discovery.
God, yeah. I mean, that's the rocket fuel. That's the mother's milk of these small mining companies, is a major discovery. And you never know where it's going to go. Probably generally the model nowadays is they make the discovery and then they get bought out. But every now and then you find a company that will actually develop the resource. But pretty much you could count on there'll be a buyout if there's a good enough discovery in many of these companies. I don't know what their plans are. I have no idea. I just know that that's the pattern here. Because to run the business, to run a mine is a whole different business than exploration and discovery and the beginning stages of development, right? I mean, it's complicated business, and the seasoned pros are generally best at it.
Yeah, and the reason that there's acquisitions, because look, the fact of the matter is it takes hundreds of millions of dollars to get these things into production. So you really have no choice. If you're a small mining stock and you made a big discovery, it's in your interest to be taken out by a major. And in the same sense, the majors have completely allocated exploration to these juniors. So a lot of the majors don't really have have active exploration. They have exploration teams that go look into juniors and meet with juniors that are exploring. So, and if you look at the pipeline for, Barrick and Newmont and many of these other large mining companies, there's a pipeline issue here. So they are going to be doing acquisitions, and they already are. They're becoming major shareholders. We saw this in a company that we profiled last year, Orin Resources. Goldcorp became a major shareholder in this company. So good exploration teams is where the kind of that glory comes for this industry that is very volatile and cyclical. But the biggest gains are going to be made in, I think, precious metal mines and exploration. But really, you look at some of these assets like zinc, where there's severe shortages and you have to have it. 47% of zinc is consumed by China. You've got a serious opportunity here, because zinc is something that is not pulled out of the ground and stored in a vault. Zinc is pulled out of the ground and it's in your car. It's in buildings. It's in structures. It's in everything part of our life. Yeah.
Your pennies are all zinc now. They're just coated with copper. Who knows how much longer we'll have pennies for? It's a little antiquated piece of currency. But yeah, I mean, it's really come down to the fact that the major mining companies can't be bothered with exploration anymore. It takes up too much of their attention, and they're not very good at it when you get down to it, Dan. So what they've done is they've outsourced all their exploration and development to the junior sector, and the junior sector will find the resource, and they'll get the grades, they'll do all the testing, the drilling, preliminary drilling, and then it's a marketplace where they kind of go shopping for reserves. And all of the major mining companies' reserves positions have really diminished. I should say many of them have diminished over times. And that's what we're really looking at here, is they have to buy these companies in order to stay in their business. They have no choice.
Absolutely. And, look, it's the thrill of discovery, the thrill of building these businesses. People should be very excited when they see a company getting taken out. Yeah.
And that's where the management comes in so important too. When you're buying these explorers, you want people that have succeeded before. Or at least there's a team with people on it who have, because otherwise it's just really a crapshoot, right?
Sure. And the best thing about the bear market and where we are right now at this stage is you can buy the highest quality companies with the management at a cheap discount. Peter Meredith, the guy in Kootenai Zinc, he's got another company that, literally more than doubled since January. Investors were able to buy cheap gold stock with this guy. Now they can buy a cheap zinc stock, because these people, because the sector is hated and unloved and untrusted, even by the people who like resource stocks. Yeah. Right now, all these are very, very cheap. If you look at a chart of these Canadian resource stocks, and you look at it like for the last 15, 20 years, this little rise we've had since 2016 is a little tiny dot, a little squiggly line. I mean, there is so much more upside. That's why I say we're looking at a 4 to 5 year bull market here.
Easy. No, I totally agree with you. And these markets can go on. Once the commodity cycle kicks in, it goes on for quite a while. And, then there's rotation within it. I mean, you see it over and over again. It just keeps repeating itself. And when it's been down for a long time, that's when it really pops. So those stocks again, the zinc stocks we're talking about?
The zinc stocks we like are Zinc One Resources. It trades on the TSX Venture under Z. And on the OTC, or on the OTC side, you can buy zinc, Kootenai Zinc under KTNNF. And actually, my partner at Wealth Research Group, Leor Gantz, wrote a special report that's due out probably by the time this interview comes out. It's probably just out, but you can find that report at wealthresearchgroup.com/mega zinc. And then actually Future Money Trends, if you're interested in learning more about Zinc One, futuremoneytrends.com/Z.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Well, we always like to get new prospects out there for you so you can check them out. Go to their websites, see what the companies are doing, because you got to have zinc. That's one of the base metals. Batteries, everything requires zinc, and a lot of it too, like you were saying, Dan. So they got to replace the depleted reserves. There's no other choice here. Anyway, Dan, so your website?
futuremoneytrends.com.
All right. So it's always great talking to you, Dan. We will talk to you again. We'll check in, see how these companies are doing, and be well.
Thanks very much.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.